Yes, we do have all the new news on the pew-pews with some good friends from Defense Systems that are going to be coming up in just a couple of minutes. Gloria and Adam are in. Adam, Brink, when he was in earlier in the week, made reference to the fact that Adam had gone through sniper school, and I don't know if that provides him some level through his experience as a Green Beret. I don't know if that provides him of any, unique insight into perhaps, what training dictates, military versus Secret Service. We'll find out all of those things when we talk to these guys coming up in just a couple of minutes. At 1:05 this afternoon, Courtney Johnson is taking on Andy Ogles in the 5th Congressional District Republican primary August 1st. She's in studio with us, and we have an opportunity to talk to her about what she would do similarly and differently than Congressman Andy Ogles, who is asking for a second 2-year term. At 2:05, Rudy Kalis, sportscaster extraordinaire, will be with us. He will not be in studio originally, we were hoping, but he's actually in a prison ministering through Men of Valor in a prison today. And he's going to speak to us about an event that's coming up next Monday that I want you to be a part of. We need to open up our wallets and give with our hearts with regard to Men of Valor because it's a wonderful organization. And all in between, we'll talk about Joe Biden last night at the NAACP event. We'll talk about day 2 of the Republican National Convention, which was incredible. Some parts more incredible than others. Obviously, we are anticipating the J.D. Vance speech tonight as he was selected as a vice presidential selection by Donald Trump. And, of course, we continue to cover the aftermath of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And as we get more information, whatever information that we're getting, and we're not getting a lot. I mean, folks, it feels like the government is using the various departments of the federal bureaucracy to hand paperwork around to the point that we stop asking questions. Now, I understand it's Wednesday, and we're dealing with something that happened on Saturday. And I understand that we live in a society of a certain level of immediacy, that we want the information right now, jiffy quick. But that's not what's going on here. You've not heard from Kimberly Cheadle, the director. I mean, she gave one interview with ABC, and other than that, where's the press conference? Where is the Secret Service, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security stepping forward and answering questions, legitimate questions regarding what the hell happened Saturday afternoon in terms of the security failures? I'm a layman. I surround myself with very knowledgeable people regarding certain things, a lot of things, as a matter of fact. Because you can learn a lot when you do that. I am in the room right now with two people that know a hell of a lot more about securing an area than I do. But even I know that you look around at the buildings and go, hey, maybe we should look at that building over there and, I don't know, put somebody on it, or make sure other people that want to shoot the president don't get on it. Or maybe we should have a level of communication. If we're going to hand that off to local authorities, maybe we should make sure that there's a line of communication between the local authorities and the Secret Service themselves. So when the local authorities encountered the dude with the gun 2.5 minutes before he pops off some rounds, the Secret Service would know so that they can get their protectee the hell out of there. I mean, if I know that, then people need to be fired. And nobody's getting fired. No one's getting fired. Joe Biden doesn't fire anybody. Donald Trump negotiated an exit from Afghanistan. I don't know, and I don't care if the story about him telling the Taliban leader that he's going to kill him is true. But I believe it. I believe it because I believe Donald Trump's a badass like that, right? And if you've not heard the story, Donald Trump is sitting with these people and with military leaders, and they're trying to figure out how to get our people out and maintain order and maintain a respect for American interest in that region of the world. And Donald Trump told the translator to tell them, if you harm an American, I will kill you. The deal is off, and you will die. And the translator's like, what? Yeah, tell him that. And the translator told him that. And the Taliban acted like, whatever. And then Donald Trump gave the Taliban leader a photograph of his location where his family lived. Here. That's for you to peruse while you think about things. That's how you get things done. He hands that off to Joe Biden. Joe Biden totally botches the Afghanistan extraction to the point that 13 service people died. Service people that Joe Biden obviously has forgotten, because at the debate last month, Joe Biden said no American service people died on his watch. You forget about the 13 that died in the extraction out of Afghanistan, sir? And nobody got fired. Nobody got fired. Nobody got reprimanded. Nobody. 13 people died. Joe's looking at his watch while they're coming home. Nobody's fired. The disaster at the southern border. When are we going to fire somebody from the Department of Homeland Security for what's going on at the southern border? Joe Biden doesn't fire people. If you think for a second that Joe Biden's going to fire Kimberly Cheadle, you're wrong. They are doing this as an act of defiance. You're not going to tell us what to do. Well, they almost just killed a former president. Well, yeah, but she's perfectly competent. She's competent in guarding the Cheetos, as Elon Musk said. So all of those things are on the docket for today. Plus your telephone call, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWT. And would love to hear from you either on the phone lines or on the membersnutrition.com super text line. That is up and available as well. I always love having my good friends at Defense Systems in. They've got an event coming up later on this week, actually tomorrow. My goodness gracious, time flies. And so Gloria and Adam are going to talk to us a little bit about that. And obviously I'm going to lean on some of their expertise and their thoughts. We heard from Brink, the man himself, this past Monday, and he referenced Gloria and Adam as good resources to talk about how you secure an area, how you secure a perimeter, all of these things. We'll discuss it all in just a moment. Take an early
Matt,
time out. Yes.
I have a quick question for Adam. In order for me to take him seriously, I need to confirm that he was certified for a sloped roof.
That is a question that we will ask him right after we go to break. And we do this with Gloria and Adam from Defense Systems, who have an event tomorrow that we want to make you aware of. We appreciate these guys stopping by studio. Jump on those microphones there, Bell K. Thank you very much. Give them some red dots. Bell K. Adam's red dot doesn't work. Mark that. Well, that's typical.
It's on.
Adam, Gloria, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Actually, hold on a second.
We're holding on a second. Bell told us to hold on a second.
It's been about 3 seconds.
I don't know what we're doing. Thank you.
Seconds are still going.
When seconds matter, Bell is minutes away. That's what they tell me.
That's good.
We got Gloria, though, so there's Adam. There's your red light.
Got a red light.
How about that? Gloria Mays. And I went with McKenzie, and now I'm going to stick with McKenzie. And it's not McKenzie. It's McIntyre. It's McIntyre. I got it. It's Adam McIntyre with Defense Systems. Hello, gang.
Hello.
Hi.
I hate that y'all are busy. I tell Brink all the time that I want you to have to go find new work because you have no work to do. But sadly, that's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm going to start. I'm just going to go around the room because I don't want to lead you guys in any direction in any particular order. But I'll start with you, Gloria.
Okay.
Saturday evening. Tell me your impressions.
Oh, gosh.
Obviously, talking about the Trump rally and the assassination. Yeah,
right. Obviously. Wait, something happened?
Right.
Yeah, so I think almost everybody knows that something wasn't right. Things went wrong. I think that's pretty obvious. There's just so much information out there. So the question I think that everybody really has that they're asking is, why did these things go wrong? And that's where the answers get a lot harder to find. But that's really what people are, I think, trying to push for right now to figure out is obviously there was a failure, but why?
The incompetence is so massive and so glaring that it leads people to think very dark things about how something like this could possibly happen. And you hit right on it. Why did this happen? We know what happened. We know that there were massive failures. Why were there massive failures? Were those massive failures due to a lack of communication, due to complacency, or due to some, God forbid, intentional act inside that led to that gap, giving that potential assailant the ability to crawl in? Adam, what are your thoughts?
Man, I look at all this from the tactical perspective from my previous career in Special Forces, and it was an epic security and planning failure. With all the different elements they had on the ground, it just didn't seem they had a plan that was disseminated to everybody that was there that day. I mean, that guy should have been apprehended minutes before. Trump should have been secured somewhere, maybe brought back on stage later, but it got to the point that guy should have never been shot. He should never have taken shots. It got way, way too far, and somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
Is it a matter of as you guys absorb the information that we're all hearing? We heard very, very early on, well, this was outside of the rally perimeter, and the Secret Service had handed local authorities the duty to secure outside of the perimeter. Well, I mean, I'm just a guy that talks on the radio, right? But I know that anytime Secret Service is a part of the show, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, they run the show, right? Every aspect of the show.
Mm-hmm.
They should.
And so anything that happens in that arena is their responsibility because they're either handling it or they're passing it off to somebody else to handle it. So it just feels like a lot of excuse making right now, Adam.
Yeah, that perimeter, if the fence is 150 meters away from President Trump, the fence is not the perimeter. The perimeter is a kilometer away, a kilometer and a half. You push it out to what you want it to be within your security bubble. So if you wanted nobody over there in those buildings that day, then you push them away. You close that down for that day or for those 2 hours that he's there. Mm-hmm. So again, epic security failure. If, hey, there's a fence there, that's our perimeter. No, the perimeter is what you make it.
Let me try, you guys, to give. I want to play devil's advocate. It's hard to do, but I'm going to try to do this. We have so many. I mean, I can't even do it. So I was going to say, there's so many of these events. Is it just a matter of becoming, and I guess this maybe is a part of it, best case scenario, they became so complacent. There are so many of these rallies that are being conducted that you feel sure that you've got it handled and you allow certain aspects of what you're doing to just fall by the wayside.
Yeah, that complacency creeps in. Every rally, every event that Secret Service or whatever entity has, it goes off perfectly. Complacency gets worse and worse. And I'm guilty of it.
Yeah,
overseas, 100%.
SROs are guilty of it. That's consistent, pretty much in any.
Yeah, you're doing the same thing every day, or you're doing the same thing every weekend, or whatever it is, whatever the routine is, and every time you do it, everything's fine, and you go on home, and slowly but surely, you kind of you lose that edge. I guess. I mean, that's a best case scenario for what went down.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
What happened though? Like that is so obviously a threat, right? That that roof, there's no doubt that roof should have been secured.
But wait a minute, Gloria, that roof was very slopey.
So slopey.
It was so extremely slopey.
More extreme than the slope of the roof that the snipers were
actually on.
Yeah.
The counter snipers,
right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The ones with the tripod that had the front tripod very extended to account for
makes sense
the
if you don't
slope
think about
of the
it.
roof. Yeah. Yeah. If you think about it long enough, it makes zero sense. What is that? Is that CYA?
I mean, that's not a very good CYA. Somebody's trying to, but
I think it's a pretty disrespectful answer, honestly. That's like a way of saying
our agents can't handle it.
Or a way of saying that the people that I'm telling this to aren't going to be smart enough to figure out how dumb of a response this is.
Well, and you just said something that occurred to me. On both sides. And for those who missed it, this was the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, who was appointed in 2022 by the Biden administration and by the Department of Homeland Security. She was interviewed in the aftermath of the event, and she said, well, one of the reasons we have to regard our agents' safety, and that was a sloped roof. Okay, so on one hand, you're insulting me that I would just go, oh, okay, when I just saw an agent on a sloped roof, a counter sniper. Number two, and I didn't think about this part of it, how insulting is that to the agents? Like, what? Yeah. What are you talking about? I can't
handle that. You're telling the world that I can't handle that? Good. This is good for security.
It's insane.
Well, and, I don't know, maybe really what it is she doesn't have a good answer, and that's the best thing that she could come up with to not look too terrible, but...
I'm not trying to tell these people how to do their jobs, but here's the answer then. And I think she was talking to this guy, Pierre, with ABC News. Pierre, I do not have a good answer why we did not have an asset on that roof, but I'm going to find out the answer.
Sure. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's real. I mean, that's telling the truth. In your, Adam, experience in your life in special operations as a Green Beret, you went through sniper school.
Yes.
Can you just generally walk us through protocol? Like, if you were on that roof behind the President of the United States and you were asked to do your job as a counter sniper, what is that like?
Yeah, so if I was again, I'm armchair quarterbacking after the situation here, but if I was in that situation and I had notification that somebody was maneuvering on a rooftop, laying down, already had a rangefinder, now he's ID'd with a rifle. As soon as that guy pops his head over, He's gone.
He's out.
And I'll answer the questions later. But that stems back to the leadership of the Secret Service. How scared are they to take a shot? How scared are they to respond to anything?
If you, your understanding, and I know you've not been a part of the Secret Service, but do they have to wait for someone to authorize them to shoot?
I'm not 100% sure, but I really hope not, because if you wait, this is what happens. Shots are fired.
Right.
And then you got to counter.
You're responding.
Yeah.
You're not acting, you're reacting.
Yeah, and if that guy was a little more on top of his game, it'd be a totally different situation right now.
Well, have you guys seen the
reenactment?
The
trajectory.
The thing where the head, if you've not seen it, I put it up on my social media at Matt Murphy Show. They have one shot of Donald Trump at the podium. It's difficult to understand when they started talking about the head tilt. I didn't really understand it that much, but they do an above visual reenactment. They just do a graphic of his head position, and you see it in real time, and you can understand the turn that we're talking about from where the sniper was coming from. It was a turn of the head, probably his nose probably moved 2 inches, but it moved the angle of his head to the point where you went from a brain shot to an ear graze. And
Divine intervention.
Because otherwise we're having a very, very different conversation. If you guys were trying to assess the situation and kind of do a post-mortem over it, where do you start?
Man.
I mean, I know it's a loaded question. But
After action report? Is this what we're...
Yeah, sure. Like, I call it a post-mortem.
I mean, one of the biggest things with any after action report is the truth and honesty and being real, because a lot of these things, I'm sure this one will, can't guarantee it, but it's going to get twisted and turned to make it seem like the best case scenario for Secret Service, and they did the right thing and it just was an accident or something. But being honest, that way these things don't happen again. That's the truthful thing to do, is make an AR that's going to make things better in the future for not just the president, but any EP situation that might occur later on in the future.
Executive protection, for those that don't know EP.
Thank you. Always got to help the Tracy's out there.
I translate for Adam.
I said the Tracy's. I said the Tracy's because I always say that. I didn't think about Tracy. But it's not you. I'm not talking about you, Tracy.
You can mistake me for her.
It's 12. No, I wouldn't call him you. I was saying the Tracy's in the listening audience. That's what I call them. Sometimes people don't know what we're talking about. You got to catch them up to speed. And I normally call that person Tracy. Gloria and Adam from Defense Systems with us in studio, primarily to talk about and to encourage you to be a part of an event tomorrow. And before I get away from this, Miss Gloria, I want you to tell us all about the event tomorrow and how people can be a part of it.
Sure. So we are doing a free training event for anybody in the public that wants to come. It's going to be at Long Hollow Church, and the event is from 6 to 8 p.m., and that's tomorrow night. So if you guys don't have plans for tomorrow night, we want to come hang out with you. We want to see you. We want to meet you.
Absolutely.
We want you to come get this training. I mean, we're partnering with TBI on this, so we've got lots of good things going there, and you can it's easy to find registration for it on our website, defensesystems.com. There will be a pop-up that will immediately take you to where you can register. So, yeah.
Be there. This is great. I mean, I've been through the training enough to know that there are kind of two portions of the training. There's, how would you describe the first part, what we're going to do tomorrow night? Historical events and our like meat and potato, the DEFEND acronym. That is like the what to do, how to respond if you find yourself in this worst situation. Right. The second half deals with medical and how to, hands-on medical, how to apply a tourniquet properly, how to identify wounds, et cetera, et cetera. The first half is to how to not react but respond to threats. I was talking to Brink about this, and it's one of the most it's hit me, and it's one of the things that I've learned out of the Defense Systems training that I remember the most is that if a gun goes off, everybody reacts. Right? If we're in an arena and a gun goes off, everybody at that rally Saturday evening reacted to a gun being fired. Responding and reacting are two different things. And it goes to the heart of what I've always said, and I'm talking to two people who've been involved in law enforcement, so this is not a negative to say this, that I think the concept of the first responder, I think we need to change that in our minds. With all due respect to the people with training, whether it be military or police, whatever it might be, those folks aren't there. Right. I'm there. I'm the first responder. Now, running is a response.
Can be.
Hiding is a response.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting back is a response.
Mm-hmm.
You guys help us understand
how to do those things well.
And when to do them.
That's right.
When to do one and when not to do the other, and what to do exactly and how to do it. So I encourage you to go to defensesystems.com to sign up for the training that you'll get.
Yeah, it's designed to get you emotionally invested so that by the time we get to that DEFEND acronym, that is the what do you do and why do you do it, you're almost craving that information.
Right.
You want it. And so it really, I mean, Brink has done an excellent job pouring his heart and his soul into building this training so that the user experience is as excellent as it is. Like, we want people to walk away getting something from this, because we've all sat through trainings that have not been effective, and he is so intentional about making this an effective training.
Well, and with that in mind, I remind you, it is not graphic in its nature, but you are talking about events where people lost their lives. Obviously, you have to address those things. You have to address them head on to understand how to react to them or to respond to them if you're ever in that situation. Right. So just have that in mind. What would you say, what would you put the age limit on it from a youngster standpoint?
I mean, I think
teenagers can handle this.
Yeah, I think high school age is fine. We don't love the idea of high school kids coming, but that's totally, if they're of the right mindset, and obviously the parents are going to be able to make the best decision to know if their kid can handle that or not. But yeah, I mean, I think that's fine.
Jason points out, Belle, that someone emotionally invested does not include people crying when a tourniquet is applied during the... I mean, that was Jason on the membersnutrition.com.
Your opinion means very little to me.
That was Jason on the super text line.
He remembers the tourniquet, though.
Was mentioning that. And did you do the leg one? Did you do the leg? You did. I know you did the arm. He's refusing.
Responding.
He's refusing to respond.
Welcome, newcomers. The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances.
When we did the,
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
The arm was nothing.
Really? You think so?
Well, nothing by comparison to having to get up after the leg.
You think? See, I don't think the leg is as bad, but.
But it's not the application. It's
standing up.
It's when they tell you to stand up and get out of the room because there's still a problem in the room and you got to leave the room.
Right.
That's the problem. Is when
it's something.
When the body says no, I really want to push blood down there.
Yeah, I really don't want to put pressure on it. But aren't you glad you have that experience? And now you know if you ever needed a tourniquet on your leg and you had to run away, you could.
Here's what I know about the defense system.
Right now.
I got one right over there. I got one right. We got two. We can apply two. We were just talking offline about certain aspects of what should have been done and what should not have been done. I'm just getting news less than an hour old that we're now learning on this Wednesday that the parents of the shooter were looking for him Saturday in the hours leading up to the Donald Trump rally. And it's now being reported that they called law enforcement to indicate that he was missing and that they were worried about him. It is unclear at this point what his parents told the authorities at the time, but the call happened Saturday, several hours before the assailant opened fire at Trump during the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, it could have been a missing persons report. But what's your first reaction to that?
You know, exactly what I did. It makes you go, like, makes you think, I guess, Adam? That the parents might have known something.
Yeah. No. That they were suspicious that their son, that there was something going on with their son.
Absolutely.
Because he was old enough to where, he was 20 years old, so why would a parent who doesn't know where their 20-year-old has been for a couple of hours,
right?
In the morning. Wasn't 2 a.m, you know?
Maybe the other factors of that, there's a Trump rally that's happening.
And what they did know was that, at least if we believe earlier reports, that he had regularly borrowed his dad's long guns to go to a shooting range to practice, had been doing that for some time. And we do know that he had asked his dad to borrow his 5.56 that morning or at some point during that day. Then he went by and bought ammunition. So you kind of start putting two and two together and you get a feeling that maybe the family had something, maybe if not direct knowledge, a gut instinct to call the police. Yeah. So what do you think that based on what we know, the Secret Service director should resign right now?
Wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. Again, I think a lot of this stems back to the leadership and why the shot wasn't taking place. And that's going to go all the way to the top. And I don't know this for sure, but I think people are afraid to respond to the situations.
Well, I don't know, and this is one of the aspects that Brink and I talked about Monday, that we don't know what the comm situation was between local authorities and Secret Service. I mean, there was obviously a breakdown if minutes before, and in some cases we're now hearing that this guy was identified by certain people in the crowd 30 minutes before as being suspicious, had a rangefinder at one point, and they saw him with a rangefinder. So, I mean, the communications breakdown itself, I mean, you have to be able to push communication up to the top, right?
And this isn't their first rodeo. Obviously, they've been doing this for years. They should be good at it. And if they have to bring their own radios to give to local law enforcement so they can all be on the same channel, then that has to happen. And I find it hard to believe that didn't happen. But again, like, hey, here's what you need to report to us. And it goes back to planning and the lower entities of the law enforcement being involved in the planning with Secret Service.
Right.
Given that I'm talking to somebody that has been through a level of training that I will probably never experience, I asked Brink this, and I'll ask you, Adam, that we saw the shot of the counter sniper. And in the moments leading up to, I mean, the milliseconds leading up to the shots, you see him react in a way and then pull. He was on glass.
Yeah, so he was on glass, and right before the shooter took a shot, he came off glass. And the only speculation I have is what was being reported to him was the wrong building of where the shooter was. So I believe, and this is his perception now, is he was looking further away. So he could have had his scope dialed in to 10 power, and he might not have been able to see him until he came off glass. He could see him with the naked eye.
And if you've ever done anything with a scope, if you've ever done scope hunting or anything like that, you understand clearly that you're looking at an area that is so focused in. Sometimes you don't have an idea of where that is in the big picture, right? And so it's possible that he knew somebody was there. He couldn't get him, had to come up and get a wide field of vision and then get back on glass. And then, because those were the guys that shot and killed him, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys, and I'm going to ask you one final thing on that. Are you concerned at all? Does it enter your field of vision at all that some of this lack of focus or intensity was intentional?
Man, I really, really hope not.
Yeah.
That's something I got to take to my heart and really.
I mean, it's a dark
case.
place.
It's hard not to think it, but
it's crossed my mind, but I really don't want to believe that.
Right.
But
I don't think anybody wants to believe that, because that would mean, the fallout from that would be awful.
Right. I mean, and I hate it. When Brink came in, we talked about the failures before shots were fired, right? And those planning failures were obvious. And so I was trying to give benefit of the doubt to the Secret Service. I was like, well, at least they responded well right after. Because no, they didn't. It was awful. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because you guys understand this training. They kept the protectee on the X for almost a minute, right?
Yeah.
Explain to people who maybe didn't hear our conversation last Monday what that means.
So let's just use an ambush, for instance, and this could be considered one. So if you're in an ambush situation and you're on the X where you're getting engaged by enemy fire or whatever, you need to get off of that target area as quick, as fast as possible. And what they did, as Trump got shot at, they kept him there, not knowing if I know they got a thing that the shooter was down, but they don't know if he's the only one or not. They need to get him off that target area as fast as possible. Get him in that vehicle, and that vehicle, as soon as he got in there, my opinion, he should have been out of there. 100 miles an hour, get him out of there. And they should have had a pre-plotted site, 2 or 3 of them, for him to go to after that, for that situation.
We saw a lot, and Gloria, a lot has been made of this. And I specifically mentioned to Brink, I was like, I'm talking to a guy who his first 2 important hires for Defense Systems, which I consider to be the best life safety and security consultation firm in the United States of America. The first 2 hires were female hires. Tracy Mendenhall and you.
Correct.
So
It's because Adam wasn't available yet.
I was trying to come around.
So, but a lot of concern and criticism has gone toward the two female officers.
Yeah, well, it's certainly the one.
The lack of finding the holster is one thing, but then the decision that I didn't really want to holster my gun to begin with, right? Like,
how about before that happened, the picture of when they have, dogpiled him on the eggs.
And she's behind.
And she's by herself.
Crouching, doing nothing.
Yeah. It's not a good look.
Well, and this goes to, you hire people for their abilities, regardless of their gender.
Absolutely.
Right? Regardless of their background. You hire them for what they can do for you and accomplish for you. But if your first priority is, and it seems like this was a directive on the part of the head of the Secret Service, if your first priority is to hire diversity first, forget about abilities. If Adam is there and he has the best of abilities, but if I'm worried about gender diversity and I'm going to hire somebody else above Adam because they are a different sex than Adam, then sometimes this is what you get. You get less able people, less capable people involved in a situation, and everything's fine until it's not.
And you got to think, like, Adam and I have had conversations about this offhand, and I'm like the world's worst feminist, so could probably make a lot of women mad by some of my opinions. But we even talk about in the SF world, letting women into that space. Not just are they capable, but what does it do to the team dynamic? Are they going to be able to execute the mission as well? Because now there's guys that are treating this person as their little sister instead of their teammate, just because that's naturally what happens in relationships, right? But I'm with you. You put it simply, take it out of the scope of what happened on Saturday. If I'm going in for a surgery, I want the best surgeon available to me to get that surgery done. I don't care what they look like or what gender they are. I just want them to be the best surgeon. So it just doesn't make sense.
Well, and it goes back to something as simple as this. If your protectee is 6'3", you can't have a 5'4" person protecting that. It makes it a lot more difficult. And and then there's nothing against the 5'4" people, but you have
to. There's
look,
guys that are 5'4" too.
That's exactly right.
Facts, stats are stats.
And you have to look at the 5'4" guy and say, look,
sorry, you're vertically challenged.
Yeah, but we have to have somebody else on the front lines. You can go do something else.
Hey, you're the best driver over here or something. But,
exactly right. But you can't be that person. And sadly, that's kind of what we all witnessed.
A whole bunch of short people hate.
Here we go.
Little tiny legs and little bitty feet. They drive little bitty cars that go beep, beep, beep. Don't need no short people around here. One more time, because we've got to go. One more time on the Defense Systems event tomorrow.
Yes. So it's at Long Hollow Church, and it is from 6 to 8 p.m. And you can go to our website, defensesystems.com, to register. And we absolutely would love to see you and all of your friends and all your family there.
We would love to see you there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for all of your expertise. We appreciate you. I'm so proud to be affiliated with Defense Systems. Go over there and go to the event tomorrow night. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk.